everybody. Welcome back for our week 4 Mike Borowski Group Market Minute. And we have a special guest with us today.
Say hello to William Witt with
Hey, guys.
Homestead Mortgage. So I just wanted to do a quick recap on how this past week went in the market. What I can tell you right now is that the market's absolutely insane. Right now, I need more listings. So if anyone is thinking about selling, please reach out. For friends and family that know of anyone selling in the future, please have them reach out to me. Buyers, it's very important that you listen to this video here. We're going to talk about why it's important to have that pre-approval ready, especially in a market environment where there's 10 to 20 offers on properties right now. So where do we start?
What's the importance of the pre-approval?
Well, William, do you want to discuss that? I have my own thoughts on why the pre-approval is very important.
Yeah, from a lending side, being pre-approved is really the first step in the process for most people, or at least it should be. It's going to do a couple of things for you. Number one, you find out exactly what you can qualify for, price point wise, so that you're not necessarily wasting time or having unrealistic expectations about what you can actually afford. Number two, you also get to figure out what interest rates you're looking at, what your monthly payments are going to look like. Also, if there's anything that you need to work on. So a lot of times people may have some credit issues that they're just unaware of, and we can flesh those out through the pre-approval process at the beginning so that it doesn't cause any issues at the end.
Yep, I second that. It's very important. In a perfect world, most buyers wish they could go look at properties for weeks at a time until they find one that they like, then reach out to their lender to get that pre-approval. I can tell you in today's market, like this past week, in some of those hot areas, the suburbs, homes are hitting the market in the morning and they're going under contract into the evening. So less than 12, 24 hours, these homes are on the market. So I speak with buyers all the time that want to go look at properties first, and time again, based on my experience, they get their heart broken because they have not gotten that pre-approval, and then they can't even make an offer on a home that they truly like.
Because you need that pre-approval to make that offer.
That's correct. Sellers will never take your offer seriously unless you have that pre-approval in advance.
So what exactly is the pre-approval?
So the pre-approval is basically, it's simply a letter that says that you are eligible up to a certain dollar amount with a certain down payment. It is not a 100% commitment that you're approved for a loan. It's more so a letter stating that based on everything that we've reviewed, this is what you're eligible for. And we stand behind that. So when you submit that with a offer to purchase, the seller's also seeing that as you're a strong buyer with a commitment from a lender to get you qualified at that purchase price.
Yeah.
Excellent. And so that would help me with my offer.
Yeah, you definitely need it in order to make an offer nowadays. We've recently wrote an offer on a property where one of our buyers got the accepted offer and her competition did not have their pre-approval handy. So they wrote an offer, seller did not accept their offer and went with ours. And they were scrambling last minute to get pre-approved, and we gave a firm, tight deadline to get back to us. And that buyer never had an opportunity to get that pre-approval. We didn't allow them to do that, but that's their fault for not getting pre-approved in advance.
So the pre-approval not only has to be part of the offer, but it helps the seller to know that you qualify for it. Because if roles were reversed, wouldn't you want to know what people are able to pay you for your home?
That's the whole idea, is just making sure that all the, what's the saying here? The I's are dotted, the T's are crossed. Making sure that buyers have submitted some sort of documentation over to the lender to review, maybe pulled their credit scores, checked the debt to income ratios, and put a good solid game plan together. We at the Mike Borowski Group and William over at Homestead Mortgage, we really do our due diligence and make sure our buyers are very well qualified when making offers on properties. That way we're not wasting anyone's time, And that way our reputation grows in this business and people want to work with us, which I think in the past 2, 3 years, a lot of agents like to work with us because we get things done. And for the most part, we do not waste anyone's time.
And which you touched on already, I mean, it's definitely a competitive market. It's a seller's market right now. So at the end of the day, when you're making an offer, you want to impress the seller. By making your offer strong is a good way to do that, but also having a solid pre-approval letter is another great way to do that.
As a buyer, it's very, very important that when interviewing lenders, and you should never be married or feel like you're attached to one specific lender. I know most people get wrapped up in, hey, I want to work with the first person that I meet because they took my call, and they view that they spent a lot of time, or that individual at the bank is spending a lot of time with you. But at the end of the day, they're definitely harming you. William over here, for instance, always reaches out to the listing agent and introduces himself and really fights hard for his clients. Also, he's available after 3 p.m. during the week, which most lenders aren't at these larger banks, and on weekends. And the importance of that is when we get together and we start strategizing on how to write an offer that's really unique and will help make you stand out, perhaps you as a borrower might be able to waive your appraisal contingency. There's most agents out there don't even realize that sort of thing exists. I don't think some lenders out there know that's a possibility. And if you have a lender that's sitting at one of these larger banks that don't work after 3 p.m. during the week, and at 7 o'clock at night, and we're trying to write the best offer, well, you guys might not be able to get in touch with your specific lender, unless you're working with William over here, to find out if you could waive your appraisal contingency, which more times than not is going to set you up for very, very good success.
Yeah, that's definitely something that we use every time that we can. Again, just talking about setting yourself apart when making offers, that is a big one. So it's definitely something we check into with every single buyer that we work with, just to see if the option is there.
Communication is very important. Definitely should be working with a lender and a realtor that communicates very, very well when writing offers. Listing agents, especially the ones that have been around for a very long time, they appreciate the communication, reaching out, the idea that you're going to fight hard as the real estate agent on the other end of the transaction to help move this thing forward and make sure all issues are addressed. And if anything does pop up, we're problem solving right off the bat. William, a question that we get all the time is, well, I don't know where to start. I think I want to purchase a house in the $200K price point range, but I want my monthly payments to be $800. Clearly, those two do not align. So can you kind of explain the process of what a buyer should be looking for if they're looking in certain price? Or, I mean, do you think they should be looking in certain price points, or should they focus more on monthly payments?
I would say it varies depending on every particular situation. My personal advice to the clients that I talk to is focus more on the monthly payment, because that's what's going to be affecting you on a monthly basis, and really, impacting your finances. If you buy something that's in a certain price point, which looks good, but the monthly payments are unsustainable, that's just a recipe for disaster. So I would definitely be conscious about, what you're comfortable with from a monthly payment perspective, what your max would be, and then we can kind of back into what your maximum purchase price should be based on that monthly payment. However, if you have, a situation where you're dead set on a particular price point and the monthly payment is not a concern, then we can go that route as well. It really depends, but yeah, always being mindful of what that monthly payment is going to be and where you need it to be, on an ongoing financial basis is important.
I would agree. And I get those questions probably at least 10 times a week. Hey, I'm a new buyer, not sure how much I should be spending, but I want my monthly payment to be X. Or maybe some buyers that I get in contact with are just completely, I don't want to say the word clueless, but naive to the fact that hey, I might not be able to purchase a house in a certain area, because I get calls all the time with people wanting to purchase in certain areas, but have their monthly payments very, very low, like almost below what a rental, what you would pay for rent.
Well, and one thing I do see a lot too when I'm talking with newer home buyers, um, they don't often understand what is all included in the monthly payment. So you can easily go online and look up a mortgage calculator and find out, what your principal and interest payment is going to be for a set loan amount with a set interest rate. But you also have to factor in homeowners insurance on a monthly basis, and you also have to factor in property taxes on a monthly basis. And each of those numbers can vary depending on the property that you're looking at. So if you're looking for, an $800 monthly payment, but the taxes per year divided by 12 are $400, you have to factor that into that monthly payment. Chances are it's not going to be $800 or less. So that's a big one that a lot of people don't consider when kind of calculating what the monthly payment could be. You have to include those taxes and insurance, and sometimes mortgage insurance too, if you're putting under 20%. So that's something to be aware of and definitely take into consideration. But that's part of the pre-approval process and going through all those numbers, crunching those numbers with you to determine what you're comfortable with and what you can afford.
And that's why when a real estate agent asks you, have you been pre-approved yet? This is kind of what William means. They're trying to figure out that they're not wasting their time. And most importantly, you're not wasting your own time as a buyer. You need to have those expectations laid out for you. And most importantly, it all starts with the lender. The lender is going to put the game plan together with us. He's going to tell us, or he or she will tell us what the threshold is on where we're going to search and by price points. So ultimately, it always starts with the lender. What else do we got here, Sam?
So if I were a new buyer or just looking for a new home and I reach out to you, Will, what am I going to need to share with you to get my pre-approval and to get that ball rolling?
Yeah, absolutely. The pre-approval process is pretty simple. There's a basic pre-approval application that we would go through either over the phone or online. But the information that we're looking to gather is basic demographic info, so name, dates of birth, socials, where you've lived for the past 2 years. And then we go into income, employment, assets, and credit. So for income, we're looking, where are you currently employed? What does your monthly income look like? How long have you worked there? For assets, we're typically looking for, average bank balances and checking, savings, retirement accounts, any type of investment accounts, things like that. And then we do a credit pull. So we're looking at, an actual copy of your credit report to determine your credit scores, your credit history. And that's pretty much all the information that we need to gather to complete the pre-approval. There may be some additional documentation that we need, depending on some of those answers and how some of those numbers look. We may need pay stubs or W-2s or bank statements. But that's pretty much, what the pre-approval process is going through. It's income and employment, assets, credit scores, and credit history.
So if I have credit issues, can I still get a pre-approval?
I would say it depends. So you can definitely get pre-approved if you have some credit issues or have had some credit issues in the past. It's definitely a case-by-case basis depending on the severity of the credit issue. For example, if you've had a couple of late payments over the past couple of years, we can probably still get you pre-approved, no problem. However, if you had a foreclosure a year ago, it's going to be very difficult to get pre-approved. So I would say it's a case-by-case basis. I don't want to, throw out just kind of a general, yeah, we can do it. We typically have a solution for pretty much everybody, but it's definitely a case-by-case basis depending on your situation.
Now, William, you probably meet with buyers all the time, or people are going to borrow from you, and they think that their credit score is in really bad shape, and then you actually start taking a look at it, or they think they have all these credit issues, and you take a look at their situation, and it's not bad at all, right? You've come across that probably hundreds of times, right?
Yeah, I see that quite a bit. A lot of people use like free credit monitoring services like Credit Karma or Credit Wise that kind of give them a general idea of where their credit's at. It's not 100% accurate. And the calculations that they use to, determine your credit score is not the same thing that we use when qualifying you for a mortgage. So I've had people that have said, I looked at Credit Karma, my credit score was, 560. I don't think I'll qualify. We go through the process. I pull their actual credit report and they're in the mid 600s. So that definitely happens quite a bit. Again, goes back to another reason to go through the pre-approval process to get those issues and, figure out that information right away up front so you know what you're dealing with right at the beginning of the process.
Okay. And then do you know what credit scores somebody would need at this point in time as of what's today, January
25th?
January 25th, 2021? And then could you speak about what it was like once upon a time when we used to be able to roam this earth without masks?
Sure. So as of today, most lenders are looking for 620 to 640 for your median credit score, so your middle credit score. And that depends on the program. So if you're looking at conventional, most lenders are at 620. If you're looking for government programs like FHA, VA, USDA, most of them are going to be at that higher 640. That wasn't always the case. Back at the beginning of 2020, we had a lot of lenders that would go down to 580 for FHA or VA. As the coronavirus, pandemic kind of rolled through, a lot of those lenders bumped up those minimum credit score requirements. I do see them going back down once things kind of get back to normal, but that's currently where most lenders are at, is that 620 to 640 range.
Okay. And then I think last but not least, we should probably discuss what different types of loans are available, and then maybe do a different video on the differences between these types of loan products at some other point in time.
Yeah, so there's definitely a lot of different options as far as loan programs go. You kind of have your standard loans like conventional FHA, VA loans. There's also USDA, which are geared more towards rural areas. So that we have USDA loans available. We can do some renovation loans. We have some construction products available. There's a lot of different options. WIDA loans are available. Loans that you can use down payment assistance for. There's a lot of different options. And again, that's another benefit of going through that pre-approval process, is we can sit down and figure out which option is really the best fit for you. But yeah, we definitely have, a lot of different options for a lot of different situations.
That's also an advantage to getting pre-approved ahead of searching for a home, is you have time to sit down and have these discussions, look at the different loan options, versus you found your house, you want to write that offer, you need that pre-approval letter, and you're under a time crunch.
Yeah, absolutely. It would be hard to go through, probably everything that we should go through in, a half an hour if you needed a pre-approval immediately and you had to, submit an offer in the next 45 minutes. That'd be really hard to do. We could do it, but you may not find, exactly the best fit for you because we just didn't have enough time to go through everything. So that's another reason why it is important to get this process going early, so we can have those conversations and really figure out what the best fit is for you. But yeah, I agree 100%.
Yeah. This guy can get you pre-approved. I think you got one of my clients pre-approved recently within 15 minutes. We snuck an offer in about a half hour, 45 minutes later, and got the accepted offer. So it was very important. And I think you just got off the phone with one of our agents as well and got his client pre-approved and helped them, right?
Yep, absolutely. It can be done quickly if you know exactly what you're looking for, and all your ducks are in a row, and everything that you need to know. So it definitely can be done in half an hour, 45 minutes. For most first-time home buyers or people that aren't familiar with the lending process, I would suggest trying to take a little bit more time to go through it.
Well, that concludes today's show.
It sure does. Thank you for joining us, Will.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Remember, get that pre-approval. Anyone that's looking to start the process and buying real estate, get in touch with me or get in touch with William over here, and we'll take good care of you. All we need to do is go look for a property, and then we'll take care of the rest. Sounds good? Bye.
Have a good day.